Welcome to Gratitude Garden. My name is Caryl Henry Alexander, born Caryl Henry of Wilmore Henry and Corinne Sistrunk Henry. And we're here in Clinton, Maryland, about a mile from Andrews Air Force Base, about 30 minutes from the White House. And I started this garden in 2004, and it's been my joy and my muse. One of the things that got me into the garden and nature really was my father, Wilmore Henry, Daddy, who we used to go when I was a kid. Every Sunday we'd drive my mom and sister to church, and then we would go walk in the woods together. And my dad, it was his church, really. We would watch the animals and birds and bugs, and he would make me sit and be quiet and notice everything that was going on around me. I remember one day looking at a squirrel for like an hour just to see what it was doing. And the funny thing is, I do that now in my garden. I'm looking at the bugs, I'm looking at the plants, listening to the birds. It was peaceful then, and it's peaceful now. So I'm hoping that you guys can just relax and enjoy the time that we're able to spend here in the garden. Okay, so hopefully you've had a minute to just kind of take a deep breath and notice this beautiful space that we're in that I call Gratitude Garden. And what I'm hoping to do right now is to share 3 plants with you that have been in perfect place to share where they're at, and also have a lot to do with the art that I'm going to share with you when we get in the studio. So the first one is mullein, and this is mullein, and there's bugs. Hello, you, out of here, stink bug. Anyway, this is mullein. It's a beautiful plant. It's a biannual plant. It has leaves that are like velvet. They're really beautiful. And actually now it's just starting to bloom. And I've been cutting off the leaves as it's been growing and drying them and preparing them to make tea, because mullein is a plant that soothes the respiratory system. And you can make tea or tincture or actually make paper out of the plant. And so I just wanted you guys to see how beautiful mullein is. And there's a baby mullein right here that hasn't started its flowers yet, but. And then here I have another plant which is called rue. And it's an ancient plant. I read that they use it in Ethiopia as a culinary plant. It's used all over the world for ceremonies. I myself was part of a couple of ceremonies down in Florida when I was working with the Farm Workers Association, and we were building an herb farm actually together for the community. And the women use the leaves, which are strong of smell and are known to, they use the herb rue in their ceremonies as put it in holy water or put it in sacred water and spray it on the people at the ceremony for a cleansing ritual. So I really love this plant. A lot of the energetics in these plants has to do with how they live and grow. And for me, the rue is so coming up and reaching out, up high, almost like reaching for the ancestors. And we can see that it also has a beautiful yellow flower, which I think kind of reflects light, the sun and light and the sky. And then in addition, it also has beautiful seeds. Here's the beginning of the seeds, which I absolutely adore. And the fragrance is amazing. I wish you guys could all smell it. Rue. So we've had mullein for the lungs, rue for the light. You know, when you're kind of like, the energetics of this plant are very much about reaching, visioning. And so that's what this is about and how I use the plant. And then I bet everybody knows this one, rosemary. Rosemary I think of as let me get a little piece. Beautiful fragrance, very beautiful aroma. It's a culinary herb as well as a medicinal herb. I love that this plant has its leaves all year round. It doesn't drop. And it smells to me, when I smell it, I think of maybe my grandmother and her mother and the wisdom. It helps me like remember. That's what it is. It's really good for memory. And so, you know, I do make my roasted potatoes with rosemary. But also, I feel like the energetic of the plant is that of memory, our ancestral memory. So, yes, we've got the rosemary, the rue, and the mullein. And I wish you know, the funny thing about plants, once you're aware of them, you see them everywhere. I saw them, you know, plants in the most urban settings. So you're urban, man. I saw this woman in Taiwan who was growing beautiful cabbages in between the lines of her sidewalk. Just need some soil and you'll find plants. So now I would like to take you into the studio here. Thank you, Gratitude Garden, and show you some of my artwork. Boom. Hey, hi. Welcome to my studio. Like I said, just as we were leaving, an airplane came over the sky of the garden, so I'm glad we're in here now. I put a few pieces up to share with you tonight, but I thought I'd give you a little bit of information about myself. I actually have a website that says a lot about my background and my history, and it's my name, CarylHenryAlexander.com. But you know, I'm a person. I remember the first time I thought doing art was fun and that I wanted to do it for the rest of my life. I think I was maybe 8 years old. My parents used to let me go to the Y to go to take art classes when I was young, and I just fell in love with it, and I feel really grateful because so many people have to figure out what they're going to do with their lives, and it's like, I knew already. And I have been spending, I went to art school, I went to the Art Institute, I went to the Western College for Women in Ohio, and went to the Art Institute in San Francisco, and UC Santa Cruz, and when I finished the schooling, then my real schooling started, which was traveling around the world, mostly in West Africa and also in Europe, and meeting artists and working with artists and collaborating with artists. And really my thing is collaboration. Now what I'm showing you here are collaborations with the plants. And well, let's just get started here. When we were outside, I showed you the mullein plant and how it's all about breathing and respiratory system and calming the bronchial tubes and calming your lungs and the cells in your lungs. And this plant here for me is like so important to this piece that I created. I can't breathe, and I actually am asthmatic and have trouble breathing from time to time. And I made this piece in honor of and in anguish over Eric Gardner, who was really the first one that we knew as a nation yelled, "I can't breathe," while the police were sitting on his throat. And since I have trouble breathing, I can really relate to what that feels like, not being able to get the breath of life. And so this is in honor of him, but it also is kind of my embodied experience in response to his experience. So this is called I Can't Breathe. It's acrylic on Arches printmaking paper. It's 22 by 30, and it is mullein. And then when we were outside, we also went to see the rue. And the rue is cleansing. And I want to talk about this piece here, the river. This is called Come to the River. And I go to the river. A lot of people go to the river. My mother was baptized in the river, in the river in New Jersey, in New Brunswick, New Jersey. So I'm seeing this as rue and the dipping in the water and cleansing. And so that's my piece. It's a mixed media piece. It's actually found art. A lot of times I work with found art. I found this in a thrift store and painted and added to it mixed media. So come on down to the river and rue for cleansing. All right, and then the one other plant that we talked about was the rosemary, and how it calls up ancestral voices and memory. And so I have this piece here that I'm working on. It doesn't feel finished yet, but I wanted to share it with you. It's called The Mother. And it's really the proverbial mother. She is the plants, she is the planets, she is the air, she is just the out of whom we come. And the memories from her and rosemary come to me as rosemary. And so that piece is almost done, but not really. I started it in Maui back in February. I was there for an art residency in Hana in Maui. And the silkscreen printing was done there. This is silkscreen on canvas with sewing and acrylic painting, handmade paper, sewn, lots of sewing. So it's a new kind of mixed media piece that I'm working on. It's called The Mother and the Rosemary. So yeah, thanks again for coming. I want to share the other pieces that are more contemporary. This could be rue too, because we were talking about the sun and the light. This is a harvest festival, in August, at the end of the summer. It's made with handmade paper that I created. It's, I think, banana leaf. I started the paper in Florida. And it's sewing and painting and the handmade paper. And it's really, I guess it's rue energy in that it is about the sun and the light, which we're all looking for the light. And so that's what that piece is about. Another found one, this Listen. And you can see it's a small canvas that I found at a thrift store and then painted into it. I don't think there's much left from the original, but it's just that feeling that you just want to say, scream and holler to the world. Listen. Listen to the mother, the earth, the environment. And she is of the environment. So that's my listen piece. And then I guess this last one, which is also still in progress, I'm going to show you what's happening now. Okay, so this one I just fell together. It's almost like pickup sticks. I put the wood down from the edges of a piece of something else I was working on, and it looked like this guy. And I said, let me figure this out. And this piece is called Look Right There in Your Face. And he's pointing down to, what do you see? What do you see right now in your face? So that's what's going on. It's been interesting as a visual artist in this time. I'm someone who, a lot of my work is bringing people together, creating safe space for creative action and for unbridled imagination to go flying around. And it's like, it's breaking my heart right now to not be able to do that and share that kind of space with folks. So I'm trying to figure out how can I navigate through that with my asthma and everything. So I think it's the herbs, art and herbs, Auntie Carol's art and herbs. And I'll be doing the herb boxes, which will have also artworks in them. And they'll be coming out around the end of September. And I will continue to do my work here in the studio. And I'm so happy and want to thank everyone for coming and joining me here at Gratitude Garden here in Clinton, Maryland. Please now come back sometime soon, all right? Thank you.